It is my delight and privilege to welcome Ada Monzón to our coffee thresholder talk today. Ada, please meet our threshold team. We're all delighted to have you here, and thank you for making time for us.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here with all of you.
I'm gonna read quickly your bio, even though most of us who live in Puerto Rico know exactly who you are. So Ada Monzón is a force of nature, literally and figuratively. As Puerto Rico's first female meteorologist and the trusted voice during the island's most critical weather events, she has dedicated over 36 years to education, science, and public safety. She currently serves as chief meteorologist for WAPA TV, WAPA America, and WKAGO. She's a trailblazer in broadcast and digital meteorology. Ada is the only Puerto Rican recognized as a Fellow of the American Meteorological Society. Through her nonprofit, Ecoexploratorio Museum of Science Puerto Rico, she's helping shape the next generation of scientists by making STEM education accessible to children, teachers, and families across the island. With multiple Emmy Awards and honors from the federal government and scientific institutions, Ada's work embodies resilience, purpose, and commitment. She continues to lead with heart, science, and unshakable dedication to the people of Puerto Rico. I'll add that most recently she's been recognized as one of Forbes' Women's 50 over 50. And when she's not tracking storms or igniting curiosity in others, Ada finds her truest calm in the presence of her three daughters, the steady light in her ever-changing skies. Welcome, Ada. Happy to have you, and we're very excited to just start a chat with you.
Thank you. I'm very happy to be with all of you and share some thoughts and also learn from you. I think that we all learn from each other.
Exactly. So I'm going to start with a round of informal questions. I'm very curious because you are a woman of firsts. There are a lot of other accolades that are not mentioned here, but you were the first woman meteorologist in Puerto Rico. What are some of the challenges and rewards of being first and being this trailblazer for others that came after you?
Wow, that is a very interesting question because I never thought about it. I just follow my dreams, and I think that my family was an inspiration for me. I grew up with my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt. They were teachers, and one of them was a science teacher, a math teacher, and a Spanish and social studies teacher. So you can imagine being an only child with these women, which were very strong women. And so it's a non-traditional family, but at the same time, they inspire me to believe in myself all the time. And I knew from, since I was 7 years old that I wanted to be a meteorologist. I used to go to the back of my house, look at the clouds. I love the rain. I love the thunder. I love airplanes, So I knew from a very early age that I wanted to have some kind of connection with the sky. I didn't know what, but since I had 3 teachers around me, there was a beautiful library in my home where we had all kinds of books. And there was this beautiful collection of the time, life, science books. And there was one called Weather. So that was the one that I always picked up. And that's the one that I knew about instruments and about cloud types and about, thunder, lightning, and all these things. And also when I was in school, in the book library, I also looked for books related to science, meteorology, astronomy, but mainly meteorology. That was my passion. So I knew that this is something that I wanted to do, but I was not aware that I was going to be like the first woman. As a matter of fact, it was not until I started volunteering at the National Weather Service my mother used to take me to the National Weather Service. At that time, it was at the airport, the Luis Muñoz Marin International Airport at the 5th floor. And I used to go there with my mom just to meet, people and she was trying to make sure that this is what I wanted to do, since there was no women, to compare to. So she wanted me to have the experience. So they told me that I had to um, apply to the United States, to universities of the United States, in order to continue meteorology, because at that time we didn't have any meteorology program in Puerto Rico. So I applied, and although I was accepted, my mother, we had to be real. Flying to the States and living in the States, it was going to be very difficult economically. Just to make the long story short, so I decided to stay, as my mother recommended, to study physics and mathematics in Puerto Rico, and then continue, ¿verdad? Estados Unidos, to the United States. So when I was in my junior year at University of Puerto Rico in Rio Piedras, then I applied to Florida State University. They invited me to the university. I went with my godmother, and then as I was there, I met with different professors. The only woman professor at the department, I felt a connection immediately with her. She was studying the Sahel region in Africa, and I was very interested in that. So I applied for a NASA fellowship, and I got the fellowship. And then, so I started studying meteorology. So it was through the summers while I was studying in Puerto Rico that I was doing volunteer work at the National Weather Service. I realized that there was no other women before me. So I felt a responsibility, but that didn't scare me. I knew that there were some men in the group that were telling me, well, you're not going to be able to survive shift work. So at the end, it was true. Shift work was very hard for me, especially when I had my first two kids while I was working, because when I came back to Puerto Rico, I started working for the National Weather Service. And after 5 years with my first two kids, it was very hard. But then I went to the University of Puerto Rico and started teaching, and eventually I started broadcasting. I never thought of broadcasting as a choice or as an opportunity for me, because at the time broadcasting was not seen as a good place to work for a professional meteorologist. It was like, well, it was the mentality was different at the time. Mm-hmm. So then I said, well, maybe I have to start changing the way that people think about being in television. Maybe it's the opportunity for others to be professional as well. And actually that's how it started. I started in WAPA as a hurricane expert. Then I went to Channel 6, which is the government station. Then I went to Univision, and I'm back in WAPA. So that's a long story short. So different ways to go around it, but many first. But that's not in my shoulder. I always think about it like, I'm so happy I have, come on, and let me see how I can say this in English. I have left a trail for others to walk, like I walked in the trail that other people opened for me. So that's important in life.
Beautifully said. And this is all fascinating. There's a lot there that, we're not aware of. So a lot to unpack there. I encourage, my friends, my teammates, if you have questions, start dropping them in the chat so that I know that I need to stop talking soon, because I'm happy to talk here for a while. And I find it fascinating that you are so technically math physics, meteorology, scientific, and that you've been able to emerge in this world of being such a public figure, a communicator. Did that come naturally to you, being a communicator? We have a lot of developers here that including myself, I'm a mathematician, we tend to be more introverted. Did that come naturally? Did you get coaching? And
Not at all.
how was
Is
that
that
process?
my mother, I remember I come from a group of educators. So they talked a lot. And I was asked to shut up many times because they had to talk first. I was the little one in my house. And so I love to listen to stories and I love storytelling, you know. So that was a beautiful part of my life. So let me tell you what my aunt used to do. She always told me that I, you know, if I was able to teach something, that meant that I understood the concept. So for science, because she was a science teacher, for science, she would put like pieces of paper in the closet. And then she will ask me, okay, let's review about the cells, biology of cells. So I had to start drawing and explain every single thing. So this was so important because till today, when I have to explain something, I need to draw. I need to, and I'm not a painter, okay? I am not. But I can create content because I have the ability to explain concepts. But I think it's because my aunt pushed me very hard into explaining things while I was still very young. So in my house, I have 3 daughters, as you said, I would sit in the afternoon whenever I came from home, and I would do the same thing. Okay, explain it to me, and if you can do it, you got it. And that's how it works. So the ability to communicate came naturally. And that's something that you either have it or you don't. I think it's very hard to become maybe I'm wrong. I don't know, but from experience, from knowing many people, sometimes I try for some to, be more vocal or, understand that they have a voice and they can teach and they can educate. They have the power to do that. But sometimes it doesn't come naturally. So maybe they have to work harder for that.
Right. I love the teaching part. My husband's a teacher and he says the same thing. You have to learn to explain it.
Right.
I think the field of meteorology and even broadcasting has probably changed a lot since you started to now. What are some of the changes for the better and maybe not for the better that you're seeing? And how do you adapt and face changes? Like, how do you roll with the changes to make sure you're up to date?
Well, it's very important professionally to be part of those professionals associations, because that's how you get in contact and you make connections. Connections are very important, especially in science, because that's the way that you read papers from other people and you participate in conferences and you listen. It's very important to listen and to read. But at the same time, I think social media has opened a beautiful door. Social media has different doors, but the beautiful door is that you can connect to many colleagues. And then, you talk to them or you read them or you follow them and they follow you. And then you build a community. And that community, for me, is very inspiring and is deeply rooted, right, in science and also in service, because you're doing these connections. So that helps me empower as well as other people, because at the same time, you bring knowledge to a different platform. And for example, Zoom, Teams, and other platforms, You use those platforms to do good, to inspire other people, to educate other people, to bring a conversation. And I think that's how I adapt. I love the fact that we can connect. I don't know what, I've been in this business for 36 years, and I didn't have internet when I started at the Weather Service. I used to look at one piece of satellite image to do a forecast. And then we would post those images in a board, and we would put the maps, and we would forecast hurricanes, and we would do so much with so little. That right now we have so much, and sometimes you don't have even enough time to process it. But I hope that the que anchored in the fact that we have the best science, the best scientists, the best minds working towards safety, we can continue saving lives.
I love that you say that there's a lot and maybe too much information to process, which brings my head as a techie to artificial intelligence. That's one of the strengths, trying to process huge loads of information and making sense of it. I think that's the positive side, but I wonder, everybody's talking about jobs changing because of artificial intelligence.
Carmen, but that is so important, because right now, let me tell you, this is the first year that I am actually looking at AI models for forecasting. This is the first time in my life that I'm doing that. I've never done that. And even the National Hurricane Center is using DeepMind, and the European model is doing is AIFS, other platforms to see if they can improve what we do with the traditional method, a traditional, up to date, but with the technical models, which take a long process, take a long time to process. So this is the first year that I'm doing that.
And how's it been for you? Has it been a good experience? Is it helpful?
I am a little bit cautious. I'm a little bit cautious. So let me tell you, with Erin, it proved the European model in AI proved to be very good. And the DeepMind proved to be very good. So they didn't forecast the category 5. The rapid intensification processes are very difficult to forecast, and still models don't handle that, even traditional ones. But if by trajectory is something that at least we can depend on, that's good. And even for this system that we have now east of the Lesser Antilles, it's still putting the system to the northeast of Puerto Rico, not touching our island as a tropical storm. So it is the second time. So first time Erin, second time here. Let's see how it goes for the rest of the season.
Super exciting. So assuming AI can get to a really accurate forecast, how would that help you, and how would that make the field better?
Oh, wow. Can you imagine? I think that there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn. Certainly, I'm not in the algorithms, aspect of modeling, but I am very hopeful. I'm very hopeful that that's something that we can add as part of our analysis suite, right? In order to make sure that we communicate better. The thing is that how do you translate that science into the general public? How do I use that for better broadcasting, for better message? That's something that, we still need to work on, especially with all the things that are happening now through social media, where you have, so much disinformation. So we have to be very careful. I think that's still in development, but I'm hopeful that we can use that and learn how to do it for saving lives. I do.
I do too. I think that's very tied. We're starting to get some questions in the chat. Dan is asking a very related question to what you're talking about, how human connection that you have with your audience. It's very important. I have to tell our US friends that whenever we see a hurricane coming our way, we stop thinking about Bad Bunny's residence, and we're all tuning. 3 million people are tuning to Monzón to see what's going on. So how do you see the human connection evolving? And I assume that that's still going to be very important. I'm not sure we can envision a robot just forecasting and educating the rest of us that are nervous.
Well, the thing is that, I think we need to focus on resilience a lot. Challenges are increasing because as climate changes, it's happening, and it's real, and it's happening very fast. So I think that we're going to hear more about intense and extreme hurricanes. We're going to hear a lot more frequently about floodings, about droughts, about forest fires, about sea level rise, about communities being affected. I mean, this morning we have Erin not even touching the center in the East Coast, and it's producing a lot of damage across the area. So I think that community connection needs to continue, and it will strengthen. It will strengthen because I don't think society is fully prepared for extreme hurricanes, climate change, all these natural hazards. We need to make sure that families are safe, are well informed, and especially empowered to respond to any of these hazards. So I think science is going to be a center, it's going to be at the center of every family. And it's going to increase because everybody's going to depend more on science in order to make better decisions and in order to save their minds. And that's at the same time, that's why I have Ecoexploratorio, because I know that we need beautiful and scientific oriented spaces in order to drive the conversations. We need scientists to connect to the general public. We need to translate that science into everyday's life, and that's something that we need to work on. And not many scientists like to communicate. There are some that are better than others, and that's fine. That's fine. We all have nobody's perfect, and we have our attributes and our deficiencies. And so we need to work with each other in order to support each other.
That's wonderful. And I sure hope, certainly, as science is at the center of the decisions we make. Sometimes we worry. Dan, I want to make sure that if you had any follow-up questions that I gave you the space.
More ideas, but we'll start with that and give some space to the rest of the team. But thank you so much for being here.
Okay. Juan, you had a question. I'll give you the space to ask it yourself.
Sure, I can do that. And Ada, first of all, thank you so much for being here. Great pleasure to meet you finally, not in person, but at least real time. So awesome. I think you already addressed a little bit about that question when you talk a little bit about AI and some other stuff that may impact the field. But I wonder if, with your experience, right, you have identified other gaps or opportunities when it comes to implementing technology that can actually help or do improvements or even provide stronger benefits in the field, right? That you say, hey, that's an opportunity, but nobody's helping or providing solutions there, especially in the technology side.
Wow, that's a very interesting question. For example, I see deficiencies in the way that we're collecting information. For example, we have to wait until we are in the longitude 50 degrees west in order to send hurricane hunters. We don't have a complete array of buoys across the Atlantic Ocean in order for us to understand how to how these systems evolve. We recently had the threat of getting rid of one of the most important satellites that we have in order to estimate wind velocity, pressure, wind field, because of political decisions. So sometimes I fear how technology and politics are involved, which I don't understand and I don't want to get into, but we need to make sure that the driver for technology and everything we do is el bienestar. How do you say that? The well-being of people. So I hope that as challenges evolve with climate change, we have more tools for people to understand their risks so that we have a way to measure and use that technology in real time to understand what is happening and how to use technology in order to keep people informed, and they can use it better to improve the quality of life. Unfortunately, I am very optimistic. Usually, I'm very optimistic. But with this thing, with climate change, I don't feel very optimistic at all. So I hope that we can all do good and inspire others to pursue solutions and not be stuck with problems, and understand the needs of the people and the communities that are around you, because I think things are going to change and they're going to change fast. I don't know, the ones that are in Puerto Rico have felt what it was like yesterday. It was like hell in Puerto Rico. It was more than 90 to 96 degrees maximum temperatures, and heat index in the order of 120 and 125. I mean, just think of what these conditions mean in schools, in elderly housing, in places where you have to be outside waiting for the bus, where there's no ventilation, where there are no air conditioners. You know, it takes your life. I mean, you can die. So yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but I understand that technology, at least in the meteorology field, is extremely important, and there's still some room for improvement. But we need to keep evolving and need creating and need thinking about the needs in order to build the technology around it.
Yeah, thank you, Ada. It does answer my question. And you have a place right now here full of technology people, right? I really wanted for them to, and myself, to listen to what you have to say around that. Now, a follow-up question on that. Sounds like, and thinking Puerto Rico right now, what do you think are the current challenges? Is it awareness? Is it this potential political situation you just hint at, or infrastructure, resources? What do you think is the biggest challenge right now in order for us to face all these evolving situations?
Energy. That is our main infrastructure by far. When we think about what happened, let's think about what happened with Hurricane Maria. We had about 64 to 100 people that were directly affected by winds and water, because of flooding, because of landslides, or because wind related. Very, very few times we find people dying because of wind. However, in this time we had a few wind related deaths because of trees falling on top of houses and things like that. So most of the people that died after the storm, they were related to energy issues because of their health conditions. I would say first infrastructure, second health. We have a serious health problem in the island. We have a lot of people that are older adults, 65 and above, not living in the best conditions. Most of them don't even have the economical feasibility to pay for the bills related to infrastructure. So there are many issues that we're facing. But I think that if we could solve the energy issue, we would be in a better position to at least keep people alive after a storm. Because there are two things. You either talk about the risk to life or the physical risk. What I mean by physical risk, well, how buildings will be damaged, how the roads will be damaged, how communities are going to be handling coastal erosion. That is when I'm talking about risk for the physical risk. But then lives, okay, so there's a swell event, there's storm surge, and then you take your surfboard and then you get into the sea. Or you stay in areas which are flood prone or landslide prone. And therefore, you know that if that is the case, or you stay in a house that is not well built because it's not following building codes, well, then you are exposing your life as well. So how energy is going to solve any of this? Perhaps it's not going to solve any of this. But with respect to life, indirectly, it will solve the fact that we could lose thousands of people, because if the hospitals do not have the power or the energy to continue after the storm. I was in WIPR with the Hurricane Maria, and one of the most horrendous calls that we took was from a nearby hospital where the intensive unit, they were moving everyone because the windows were getting destroyed. They were destroyed. So they were telling us like they were in an emergency. They didn't have electricity. They were moving the intensive care patients to another. How do you move intensive care patients, which are connected to every single cable in order to be alive? And that happened also in other hospitals where most intensive units lost their patients. So, the people, ¿cómo se dice burlar? Se burla.
Mock. They make fun.
Mock. They make fun of hurricanes, but they don't understand what that means in every unit that is working during the hurricane or after a hurricane, especially extreme hurricanes. And if you ask me, what am I afraid of? I'm afraid that with the fragility of the energy system that we have now, and the fragility in the health of many people in Puerto Rico, that we might repeat the story again. That's what I'm afraid. And we're here, right? We have electricity now, and we can connect and we can think about all of this, but I'm afraid that this may happen again. And everybody will say, yeah, we're prepared. Of course we're prepared. We now know what to expect. But there are some other areas which are very difficult that we still need to work a lot.
Thank you, Ada. I mean, we all share your sentiment here in the island, and we'll be as best prepared as we can. Ada, I want to be respectful because I know you have a bunch of university students waiting for you. But I want to highlight that it really resonates that in every question you've answered, you've always focused on saving lives, on understanding how everything impacts the community, being very empathetic to the most vulnerable. So that really resonates with the work we do, which is advancing nonprofits. I wish we would have talked about Ecoexploratorio a little bit more, but know that you now have a lot of friends that if you need to advance that mission and there's anything tech related that you think might need or want to brainstorm, please reach out.
Thank you.
We'll be happy to help you with that. And thank you. Thank you so much. Peak of hurricane season, you made time for us, and this has been a privilege and a treat.
Thank you. I would have loved to hear more about all of you. Unfortunately, I have to leave because I have another conversation with the University of Puerto Rico in Maya, and it's about communication and misinformation. So let's see how it goes.
It will be great, I'm sure. Gracias,
Thank
gracias,
you.
Ada.
Thank you.
Gracias.
Thank you so much.